Mobile Masterpiece Theater. Sunday.
DVD of their pitching or hitting. This is my main work area where I'll start the game. The main purpose of this is to provide the team with a replay station for players and coaches to come back and watch themselves either before or during the game. My day usually runs from noon to midnight, but I love it, so the time goes quick.
Just like 54, right?
Yeah, you got a lot of those DVDs, don't you? Huh?
How would you guys have liked to have that kind of assistance when you were playing?
I would have loved the information.
Well, I think it'd be nice to look at those. I don't know. I'd rather have had the pitcher that I was going to face.
Well, you can get that.
You can do that too.
You get that too, huh?
Because they videotape almost every game that's on the satellite.
I would have liked to have seen.
Jared Wright with a ball and no strikes takes a strike in the inside corner. 1-0. I can tell you what, Rob Smith's little station, whether at home or away, is one of the most popular places, especially right after a game. And it's usually the 0 for 4 guys, not the 3 for 4 guys that want to see what happened during their at-bats.
The most impressed I've been with his station this year was in Cincinnati when there was a rain delay and Jared Wright was struggling.
On the ground at Durham. 1 out.
And I go down in the locker room because we're going to be a while, and I walk in and there's Nite Xtra there going over pitch by pitch every pitch Jared Wright made to see what he could do differently. While I have your attention, you know you can become a part of our telecast with Holiday Inn Express in the booth. If you have a question, send us an email, and if we choose it, we'll answer a little bit later on in the game. There's the email address, tbsmailbag@atlantabraves.com, and we would appreciate it if you would include your name and where you're from.
Rafael Furcal flying to left his first time up. Let me ask you guys this. There is so much information out there now between the scouting reports, the advanced scouting reports, the computerized defense charts, the DVDs of hitting and pitching. Can you overdo it? Can you give a guy too much information?
Yes, I think you can.
How about as a hitter?
Well, I think so. I think that you try to keep it as simple as possible is the best way to do it. I mean, you could overload your mind on a lot of different things that don't really mean anything.
Especially a young pitcher, especially a young player of
well, look at the stack of stuff they give us to broadcast a game. They give you 45 pages of information. There's no way you can possibly use it all.
First thing I noticed when I came into the booth,
there used to be 2 sheets.
Not only that, but you got it on the computer. You get some stuff, updates on everything.
Yes, you sure do. Into right field. That's Michael Tucker for the catch, and Furcal's retired.
Well, I think if you're a pitcher, you want to know who's hot, who's not, who likes the ball inside, who walks, who doesn't take anything, who's a first ball, fastball hitter.
Let me ask you guys this one. If you were a manager and you got all those statistics and you knew that a hitter hadn't hit well against a certain pitcher, would you ever play him against a guy?
If he was a star, I would.
Well, yeah, you'd have to.
But if he was marginal, probably not.
Yeah.
Another fly ball to right where Tucker coming toward the line this time.
Unless his agent called.
1, 2, 3 go the Braves. So far, Reeder and Wright in control.
Beginning to
3 pitches and out for Barry Bonds the first time up in our extra motion. The first fastball on the outside corner. Fastball number 2 knee high outside corner. And then in on the hands. Jared Wright all fastballs, and he got Bonds to pop it up.
Bonds now 0 for 8 on this trip. The flashbulb popping as Bonds takes ball 1 from Jared Wright.
4 straight fastballs.
He had some great hang time on that pop-up, though.
2-0 the count.
First breaking ball, and that's one that Jared Wright is glad he didn't swing at.
40 years old now, on his way to a National League batting title, which would be his second. If he wins it, he'd be the oldest player to ever win a batting title. Older than Ted Williams when Ted Williams won his last one. 3-0 pitch to Bonds is fouled away. And when it's all said and done, you can make a legitimate argument for Barry Bonds of being the best player ever. He might be number 1 on the home run list when it's all said and done. He's already number 1 on the walks list in his career. He has over 500 stolen bases, 6-time MVP. He's got a chance for number 7 this year. He's won 8 Gold Gloves, made an outstanding defensive play in tonight's game. And it's conceivable that when it's all over for him, there'll be so many numbers there, you'll have to say he's the best.
Well, you're right about that, Pete. People often ask me who was the greatest hitter I ever saw, and I'm starting to change my mind a little bit now watching Barry Bonds hit. But to me, Ted Williams, that you mentioned, was the greatest hitter.
He's the one that always comes to mind. Yeah.
What did he hit? 380 something that last year? 39. I don't know why he quit when he did. He was still a good hitter.
Here's Przynski, fly ball to left. Marrero there. And there's one gone before Marquise Grissom bats. Our Aflac trivia question tonight. And it concerns the Minnesota Twins, where Harmon Killebrew played. What 3 players hold the Twins record for most home runs in a game? We'll have the answer for you in the next half inning. Test your Twins trivia knowledge.
You got to start questioning yourself, I think, as to whether or not it's a good idea to walk Barry Bonds. Giants immediately following walks to him are hitting .282 for the year and .393 for August. The guys who hit right behind him. And in those ball games where Bonds has walked at least once, the Giants are 58 and 36. So somewhere along the line, you got to say to yourself, I know the numbers, but somewhere you got to say to yourself, you know, they're hitting 300 behind him.
He's going to walk 200 times this year. Look at the lead he still gets, too. Even though he doesn't run much anymore, he still gets a sizable lead over there at first base. Very smart base runner.
Have they walked him with the bases loaded this year?
I don't think this year. Last year they did.
Brindley did it last year, didn't he?
Yep.
I think he may have. I
think Bob Brindley did it last year.
He's going to walk 200 times. He's walked 183 times this year already.
I remember the Yankees walking Ted Williams in Yankee Stadium with the bases loaded.
Here's an 0-1 pitch now to Marquise Grissom. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the one number that keeps popping up about Bonds, those intentional walks. He has 94 intentional walks this year. That's almost twice as many as any team in the major leagues.
Most of those walks are unintentional, intentional walks too that he gets. So.
And I can't remember anybody with numbers like that over team.
Well, there hasn't been anybody,
except for Babe Ruth when he was first hitting all those home runs. He hit more home runs than some of the teams in the American League and National League those first few years that he hit 50 and 59. But that's the only comparable number like that you can even think of.
Well, if he just got the intentional walks, that's all, he'd be 5th in the league in walks.
Oh yeah.
If you just counted the intentional walk.
Slowly towards short. And the Braves turn a double play of their own. Another strong inning of work for Jared Wright. No scores. We go to the bottom half of the 4th inning.
Got a partial answer to Harmon's question. He's been walked 20 times, has Bonds, with the bases loaded. We're not sure how many of those were intentional, but I do know that there was one last year.
0-1 on J.D. Drew. J.D. struck out his first time.
Here's a guy, if you watch him a lot, I think you certainly learn to appreciate what a fine ball player he is.
If you watch him every day.
Yeah.
Much better player the more you see him. You're right.
Yeah, and I get a chance to see the Braves quite a bit, and golly, I'm impressed with this guy.
Nothing he can't do. It's for average, it's for power. He can run, he can throw, he's a good fielder.
What's the biggest surprise for you now that you're seeing him every day, Pete?
I think first of all, speed. I didn't realize he was that quick, because we only saw him 4 or 5 times a year when he played for the Cardinals.
And may have never seen him 100% healthy.
And I didn't realize he was as quick as he is.
And his defensive ability, maybe?
Great instincts. He could play center field.
Yeah. 2-2.
Not on this club right now.
Toward short. Cruz will have to hurry. That speed will make it close. 1 away. Chipper Jones drew a walk in the 1st inning.
Where has he been hitting the ball this year?
That should be pretty even, because he spends half the time hitting one way and half the time hitting the other. So I think it's going to be pretty good balance there.
He's having a great year, and you know, I'm glad to see him back on 3rd base, because I thought
so is he.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
He never did dig the idea of being an accomplished fly hawk. I think he said there's more action. That's trouble.
Down the right field line and foul. Nothing. I want to throw something. You're the perfect person to ask because there's a lot of talk. The top prospect in the Braves organization is a third baseman named Andy Marte. And there's been a lot of question about if he makes the ball club next year, what do you do with Chipper Jones? Move him back to the outfield or move him to first? You moved from third base to first base in your career. Tough move, easy move?
I did. Well, it was a fairly easy move for me because I was always an infielder, Pete. And moving across the infield was easier than going from first to third because of the glove situation. And you're throwing, and you got at first base, you got your second baseman pitcher to help you on different plays. So that was, I liked it over there. Plus, you were closer to the dugout in our ballpark, which was nice. But I think it would be a very easy move for Chipper to move to first base permanently. But I moved because we had a guy by the name of Don Mincher. We made a trade with the White Sox, got Earl Batty and Don Mincher, and I had to move back to third some because of Minch. So bouncing back and forth was the toughest thing for me to do.
Here's your Aflac trivia question answer. Little Minnesota Twins trivia tonight. What three players hold the Twins record for most home runs in a game? Well, one of them's seated right here. You probably guessed that. Did you remember that Bob Allison and Tony Oliva were the other two? That was a very good offensive ball club you guys had, and you had some great pitchers there too with Jim Cott and Jim Perry.
I'm afraid not enough people know how good of a hitter Tony Oliva was.
How many batting titles? 4 or 5?
At least 2 or 3, I think. Tony won batting titles his first 2 years in the big leagues. And, he hurt his knee, and that slowed him up. But he was a Rod Carew type hitter with power. Hit the ball all over the ballpark. He was the best off-speed hitter that I have ever seen. You could throw him 99 fastballs and 1 changeup, and he'd lose it.
That's just the opposite of most hitters.
Yeah, the guy that I couldn't hit, I just could not hit this guy, was Stu Miller. Tony would wear him out.
Stu was the guy that had the overpowering changeup.
he really did. And
reach back and take a little off.
After I quit playing, I used to go around and talk to different hitters, and I couldn't find anybody could hit the guy.
He had a pretty good career.
He was a better pitcher than Babe Ruth, I think.
He had a pretty good career. And I guess when you were playing, Julio Franco was only in his, 30s, right?
Julio. When you were up there at Cooperstown for the Braves-Twins game in June, I asked him, I said, Julio, how long are you going to play? He said, as long as I can. I don't want to ever quit playing.
He loves it. He wants to play till he's 50.
Look at the condition he's in.
Toughest workout regimen of any player on the ball club.
He looks marvelous. I am amazed at Julio Franco.
And he still uses the heaviest bat of any Brave.
And wraps it around his head.
You see how far he has to bring it around to get back to the ball.
If Bond catches a ball in left field, he'll probably be the most surprised guy in the ballpark. He's not going to hit many balls over there.
No, and we saw a defensive alignment for Colorado that played him like a left-handed pull hitter.
That's the way you should play.
2-1 the count, and Franco were scoreless in the 4th inning. 3 hits for the Giants, 3 hits for the Braves. And Franco right at 300 now.
I saw him play when he broke in, and he looks like a much better player now than he did then.
Pat Corrales has said he is a much wiser man now than he was then.
I'm sure he is.
Right back to Reeder. Chance for 2 here. And they get the double play. That's the second one turned tonight by the San Francisco Giants. We are still scoreless through 4. Let's go back to our TBS studios. Mark Fine.
All right, thanks a lot, Pete. Welcome back to TBS Sports Control, presented by MasterCard. A lot to get caught up on. Tom Glavine in action tonight. The former Brave, just 1 win at Shea this season, despite a 2.34 ERA. Deciding to take things into his own hands, taking on the Dodgers, facing Wilson Alvarez, and yeah, he's got the new teeth, and it hasn't affected his batting at all. RBI single. Mets up on Los Angeles right now, 6-0. Well, tonight we're watching the Braves take on a man who some think is the best to ever play the game. Now, whether you agree or not, there is no denying the impact Barry Bonds has had on baseball. Here now is a look back at some of the more memorable moments from a powerful career. Braves fans will remember a slender Barry Bonds began his ascension with a home run in Atlanta off of Craig McMurtry. We flash forward to April 17, 2001. If he had never hit another, it wouldn't have mattered. Number 500, always the benchmark. Bonds came off of Terry Adams. October 5th, 2001, he passes Mark McGwire for the single season mark. Number 71 of the season, a pitch Chan-Ho Park would like to forget. One will most likely always remember. Bonds finished, of course, that season with 73. Finally, earlier this season, April 12, 2004, number 660, to tie Godfather Willie Mays, the ball flying into McCovey Cove. And as Bonds crossed home plate, he seemed to give a special thanks to his dad, perhaps looking down on the spectacle with a very big smile. It was the passing of the torch, literally and figuratively. Best part of this story is that it will be continued. That brings us to tonight's Fans Extra poll. Log on to AtlantaBraves.com. Make your selection. Our question is, will Barry Bonds break Hank Aaron's home run record? It's your vote. Don't waste it. Guys, as we send it back to Turner Field, let's get your thoughts. Will Bonds break the record?
Well, let's vote. I think he will.
I think he will, too.
I think he's certainly capable of doing that. I think it will depend on how his physical body holds up, and if they give him enough pitches to hit.
And I think I've read that Hank Aaron thinks he will.
Well, he needs 63 to do it. And he's 40 years old, but he keeps himself in terrific condition.
Did you have a personal trainer when you played, John? You did?
Yeah. Me and 24 other guys. We shared him.
Okay.
Don's personal trainer was that pitching wedge. 1 ball, 1 strike on Michael Tucker. Fly to left. He's now 0 for his last 19, which is a very long slump for him.
I'd like to throw some accolades out to a couple of guys in this Braves organization. I think John Sherholz has done a wonderful job here, and you know, to lose players like Sheffield and Glavine and Maddox, and their ball club is still what, 9.5 games out in front in this division. I think it's unbelievable.
Giles throws out Tucker 1 go.
Oh, and the catcher, Javi Lopez.
Sure, Javi too.
Yeah, there's another one. I mean, that's absolutely great. The other guy, of course, is Bobby Cox, and I think everywhere I go around baseball, people are talking about Bobby Cox and what a tremendous job he's done with this Braves ball club this year. And he's always been one of my favorite guys. And
simple but firm expectations.
Absolutely.
Got a chance to win 2,000 games in his major league career, and he can do it this year, which looked like a impossibility a couple of months ago, but he needs 21 more wins. Braves have to go at least 21-15 over the last 36 games, and they certainly have been playing at a much better pace than that of late.
Bobby, he reminds me a lot of Tom Kelly in that his attitude is you give me the players and we'll go with them, and that's the way Tom Kelly was. He tried to do the best job he possibly could.
Tough play.
Eddie Perez will take it and throw out Davy Cruz. Coming up in the top of the 6th, the Fans Extra. Will Barry Bonds break Hank Aaron's career home run record? We'll hear what the fans think. In the top of the 7th tonight, Braves TBS Baseball Kids Part 2, more of those Crawford, Georgia kids. And then the top of the 8th will be our Braves Extreme highlight. Armin Killebrew, our guest tonight. Yeah, Bobby, when he gets to 2,000 wins, he'll be the 9th guy, is all, in this long history of the game. The 9th manager to do that.
You want to make him fidget more than a 5-year-old caught in a cookie jar? Just say, boy, you know, you're a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gee. Oh, yeah.
I can see him scratching his head a lot.
Very modest guy. Very easy inning for Jared Wright, who's pitching one of his better games tonight. Still no score.
TBS Baseball Friday Night Extra, brought to you by Gateway. From LCD to plasma, we've got a thin TV for every room and every budget. And Krylon Fusion, the original no-prep super bond paint for plastic.
Kids up on the Sky Field here at Turner Field. As we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning, Andrew Jones leads it off against Kirk Reeder. I know what I wanted to ask you, Harmon. One of the most recognizable symbols of Major League Baseball is that little Major League Baseball logo. And when we were up in Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame game this year, somebody from the Hall of Fame was saying that that logo is you.
Well, that's true, but Major League Baseball doesn't want to recognize that, I don't think. But,
you'd have to be reimbursed.
Bowie Kuhn was the commissioner when they started that logo, and I happened to be in the commissioner's office when they were doing the mock-up of that logo right there. Well, you can tell by the big nose.
You can tell by that power setup and that power swing.
But even though it's not identified as being Harmon Killebrew, it's got to be a kick for you because you see that thing all over the place. That's the symbol of baseball. That's an international symbol of baseball.
I'll tell you, let me take it a step further. Kevin Grabowski has it tattooed on his right calf.
Does he really?
Yeah, it's down. It's right there. So
see, it's on the side of the bases.
Takes Harmon Killebrew with him everywhere he goes.
How about that? Also the alumni logo happens to be me, but they asked me if they could do that one, so I said sure. I was honored.
That is the second strikeout of the game for Kirk Reeder. One away. Eli Morel will be up next, and as he steps in, we'll take a look at our Wagner box score. Not a whole lot of numbers up there in the hit column. Braves have managed only 3. So have the Giants. Eli Morel has one of them.
You started your career in Washington. Washington has been in the news a lot lately concerning the Montreal Expos. You have any feelings about that?
Oh, I sure do. I think that they deserve to have a ball club back in the nation's capital. I think if they put it in Virginia, Northern Virginia there, I think they do fantastic. I hated to see the ball club move from Washington to Minnesota in the beginning, and I enjoyed playing there. Great fans. What fans we had. You know, they used to call us first in war, first in peace, and last in the American League. Somebody called the ballpark one night and said, "What time's the game?" And the voice on the other end said, "What time can you get here?" And
we remember those days across the street, don't we?
Well,
we
were just starting to become a good ball club when we moved to Minnesota, but I think they deserve to have a ball club back there, and I hope they get one. They probably have to be a National League club, however, and I always thought the nation's capital maybe was an American League city.
No, it was for so long, yeah.
But let me go on just a little bit and say that, boy, I never regretted going to Minnesota because the weather was still cold there.
And you didn't have a dome when you went up there.
No, but the people were wonderful.
Yeah.
The hearts of the people were so great, and the fans in Minnesota were wonderful.
Eddie Perez with a 2-out single on a 0-2 pitch. That's number 4 off Reeder.
I know I've been mentioning the Twins and the Braves a lot here tonight, but if you look at our two organizations, I think we have two of the best organizations in all of
Terry
baseball.
Ryan does a terrific job with the Twins.
Ryan with Minnesota Twins is a tremendous general manager, and he knows talent. And Jim Rance, the farm director, they do a great job. And of course,
1991, a memorable year when the two teams got together in that 7-game World Series, one of the best World Series ever played.
I was talking with Ron Gardenhire recently, and he said he'd like to see a repeat of that.
So that'd be fun. That was the only time I can ever remember seeing this, but the two teams had so much respect for each other that when the 7th game began, Lonnie Smith, leading off for Atlanta, went up to home plate and shook hands with Harper, the catcher, to start the game. Said, "Here we go, Game 7."
That was a great World Series.
That was a terrific. I don't ever remember seeing that ever in a huge game like that before.
Let me draw another parallel between the two ball clubs too. In recent years, say like the last 12, 15 years, they've done a great job of developing their own within the organization. Great scouting.
Yeah, they've got a great president over there, Dave St. Peter, too. I think has really kept that organization through some really tough times. Has done a great job, and they've got so many great people in that organization, as the Braves do.
Jared Wright's 5th hit of the year, and they're at first and second now with 2 outs for Rafael Furcal. who was fly to left and fly to right.
Eddie Perez in Arizona said Jarrett Wright with his home run put a little pressure on him, so he hit 2. Well, Eddie Perez gets the single, and Jarrett Wright repays the favor.
See if Furcal can hit in a 10th straight game, maybe get that run in. Nobody has scored yet. We're in the bottom half of the 5th. The other thing I remember about that '91 World Series when it was over, and you saw Terry Pendleton in the Braves dugout a moment ago. He's the hitting coach now. He was the batting champion and the MVP of the National League that year. Was how he stayed on the field shaking hands with some of the Twins who were celebrating. It was just a remarkable amount of respect that those two teams had for each other that year. And there really was, as Ken Herbeck said after that series was over, there was no loser that year in that World Series. Now when you go extra innings in Game 7. Ball 1 to Rafael Furcal. Herbeck said at the end of the 9th inning in Game 7 they should have stopped it and given each team half the trophy. Terrific series that year. Here's the 1-1 now to Furcal. Ball 2.
No, my son Cam that lives here grew up as a Twins fan, and I never thought that he would become a Braves fan, and he married into a family that are all Braves fans. So he's become a Braves fan in the National League and still is, of course, a great Twins fan.
3-1 now for call. Marcus Giles waiting on deck. 2 men on, 2 men out. First real trouble spot that Reeder's been in tonight. On the ground to short. And he gets the force play at second. And the 0-0 contest continues as we head to the 6th inning.
Hey, you're a super.
Yes, Barry Bonds is going to break the record. He is the best major league hitter ever.
I absolutely believe that Barry Bonds will break the home run record.
I don't think Barry Bonds will break Hank Aaron's home run record because I'm a Braves fan and I hope it stays in Atlanta.
I think Barry Bonds will break Hank Aaron's record at the end of next season, guaranteed. They pitch to him, he's going to do it easy.
I do not think Barry Bonds is going to break the home run record, mainly because he's probably only got 3 more good years of playing, and I don't know that he'll see enough pitches in that time to do it.
And the polling results show 62 to 38%. Fans believe that Barry Bonds will. Well, like we said, he needs 63 more to do it. He's hit 35 this year. If he hits 5 more or so this year, and he may hit more than that, that'll give him 40. He'll need 58. If he hits 40 more next year, he's only going to be 18 or 19 away. And once you get that close, you got to go for it, don't you?
Well, he's homering now about what, once out of every 3.5 or 4 games, if that far apart.
One of the things about him, though, he's very selective with his pitches, and when he gets a pitch to hit, he usually hits it.
And it's unusual, too. I watched your swing. You were right down on the handle of the bat. Bonds goes up a couple of inches.
Yeah.
And
yeah, have you ever known a home run hitter that chokes up like that?
No.
I never have seen anybody but Bonds do it. Here's you, Harmon.
Oh, boy, this ought to be exciting.
Well, it was. That was a power swing.
pull the hands in, unload, a little bit of an uppercut swing.
Saw some of the highlights of Bond's career earlier, some of the milestone home runs. I'm sure you all remember your milestones. You talked about your first home run. You remember number 500?
Oh, yeah, that one took a while to get. And it's not a record or anything. It's more of a mental barrier. And I finally got mine against the Orioles. Took about a month, it seemed like.
Well, here's what it looked like.
They've got it.
They've got it.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Right there.
Cuellar?
And Mike Cuellar, the curveball. And when I came around, they stopped the game, gave me the ball, and I went back in the dugout, and Bill Rigney was the manager, and he said, I hope it's not as long between 500 and 501 as it was between 499 and 500. And I hit my 501st the next at bat. Off the same pitch off Cuellar, curveball.
Slow learner, huh?
I guess he was. Well, he had a great curveball.
Yes, he did.
Also had
a great screwball, too.
Yeah. He was part of that great staff they had there for so many years with Dave McNally, Jim Palmer, and Cuellar.
Pat Dobson.
Dobson.
Dobson is with us. He's in town. Was in town last night scouting.
He was advancing the game for the Giants. He's probably moved on to the next place now, as all advanced scouts do. There's a strike to J.T. Snow, nothing, and 1 the count. Snow's 1 for 2.
I know you guys talk a lot about Henry Aaron, but of course Henry, I don't think ever got the acclaim that he really deserved, because he was truly one of the greatest players that ever played this game, and he could do everything.
Isn't it ironic too that we're using all those same terms to describe the guy chasing his record? It can run, throw, could play defense, hit for average, and hit for power.
Yeah.
And besides having the home run record that Bonds is chasing, Hank Aaron, the all-time RBI man in baseball, top 10 in a whole lot of categories. Plus all the other things he could do. As you mentioned, he could run. He was a good fielder.
Oh, yeah.
First and second with nobody out, and Edgardo Alfonzo the hitter.
Well, in 1954, there were 2 18-year-olds that broke into the American League. One of them was out of Iowa. The other was a strong, very powerful left-handed hitter named Frank Legia.
Yeah, he was with the Pirates, wasn't he? No, Yankees. Yeah,
came up with the
I remember him, left-handed hitting first baseman.
Quite a difference in the 2 careers, and
Frank Legia.
I was going to say I got to see Frank Legia when I was growing up playing AAA ball a lot. I never got to see Harmon. He was in the big leagues.
I never faced Harmon, and I'm glad, but I faced Frank Legia in the NBC tournament in Wichita in '64.
Well, I worked a lot of games that you pitched on, so I saw you a lot.
1 ball, no strikes on
right.
Alfonzo.
You slaved over a hot microphone for a while, didn't you?
Yes.
1-1, nobody out, first and second.
Minnesota Twins have been good to me. I don't have to be there all the time much, and I get to do things like this. This is fun.
No, it's a treat having you here. 1 ball, 1 strike on Edgardo Alfonzo.
Good pitch, huh?
You know, too. And people at home might be wondering, well, why don't you bunt him over to third? Well, if you bunt him over to third, they're going to walk Barry Bonds.
That's right.
So you're almost as well off having Alfonso pop up as you are giving up an out and having him bunt over.
If they can get Alfonso out, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Bonds with 2 men on in a tie game. He's been walked a lot in situations like that too. It's not quite the same as a bases loaded walk, but it's almost. I'm talking about if runners are still at first and second.
I think with the game on the line, you always treat Barry Bonds as though first base is open.
Yeah.
With the possibility.
Well, most teams do. 2-2 on Alfonso. Bonds on deck. Little roller foul.
Have you ever had a manager or a pitching coach come out to you down and say, now, don't walk this guy, but don't give him anything good?
Yes.
I remember walking over to the mound so many times when I was playing first and third, and a manager or a pitching coach would say, now, be careful with this guy. Don't give him anything good to hit, but don't walk him.
I had one specifically say, don't walk him, but don't throw him any strikes.
No.
How do we do that?
I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
2-2 now on Alfonso. Ground ball toward third. See if they can get 2 here. Got 1, but a good takeout by J.T. Snow down at second base prevents Giles from getting much on that throw.
Snow's getting a few blues here, but that's the way he plays. That is aggressive, good hard baseball. Get down there as quickly as you can, disrupt the double play, keep the inning alive. A late slide, and he was well within his rights. He slid right at the bag. Same thing Marcus Giles would do if he had a chance to break up a double play.
Well, here's a situation we were talking about. You have runners first and third, and Bonds at the plate in a tie game. Well, it's not going to be intentional, at least to start. He has popped out to short and walked. Up there now with runners first and third and 1 out.
You know, one of the worst things I always thought a coach or a manager could come tell a pitcher when you have a guy like this up there is go ahead and go after him, but if you get behind, walk him. I think you ought to tell him right now, either try to get him out or walk him, but don't you know, don't try to walk him high wire.
2 balls, no strikes.
There's a lot of managers that don't like to see a strike, 2 strikes and no balls either.
Yep.
I remember it got so bad one time that our pitchers were throwing them up on the screen.
Here's the 2-0, and that just missed, ball 3.
Oh, well.
We had a manager and a pitcher coach once who was so hung up on stolen bases against the ball club that they wanted all kinds of pickoff moves and hold them on. So we ended up balking quite a few people for the next 2 weeks.
Here's the 3-0, and here's a strike in the outside corner, 3-1.
That's the quickest pitch of the night by Jarrett Wright.
97.
With the sinking action out away from Bonds.
It's a dangerous pitch to try here, but if he could throw that little comeback fastball inside, if he can get it back over the inside corner and Bonds takes it, he could run the count to 3-2, but boy, you'd better get it in there. So get it out over the plate, it's going to wind up in that bullpen.
Braves are going to try for 2, and Durham is about a third of the way down the line at third base.
Here's the 3-1. In the air to left field. You never win when you face Barry Bonds in a situation like that. He is absolutely amazing. Number 694.
A home run we don't very often see off Barry Bonds. Right down the left field line, sneak it inside the foul pole. He's seen enough to know that that one has the distance.
36 home runs this year, 82 RBIs, and 694 homers in his illustrious career. You may be looking at the best player that ever played this game when you look at Barry Bonds. And he's got a ways to go yet. How about winning a batting title at age 40? Andrew Jones called off Marcus Giles. Also almost some miscommunication out there. But Andrew stays with it, makes the catch to get Pierzynski for out number 2, and now Marquise Grissom. Remember the weekend that Bonds had here about 2 years ago, and he hit 6 homers in 3 games?
Off of what, 5 different pitchers?
And each one seemed to go a little bit further than the one before.
Including one out around the Braves bullpen that may not have landed yet.
And twice last year the Braves tried to pitch to Barry Bonds with a game on the line, and he hit game-winning home runs, one off Trey Hodges, one off Ray King. Righty, lefty, home, away, doesn't seem to matter.
There were a number of publications today around the country where they were writing about that weekend and blaming the Braves for getting him all fired up in that stretch that he's in. What was that, 179 homers since that time?
In foul territory, Franco can't quite get to it, 1-2. John Smoltz recalling that series said, yeah, he hit 6 home runs and we won 2 out of 3. So that's the part I remember, the winning 2 out of 3. But last year was a couple of game winners for Bonds in game on the line situations. And he might have another one tonight. It's 3-0. We're only in the 6th inning though. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Grissom caught looking. That is the 3rd strikeout of the night for Jarrett Wright, but home run number 694 in the career of Barry Bonds has given the Giants the lead.
Almost rose at it.
Yeah.
Almost came up.
Yeah. Relax, boy. I told you, every time you use these, you're fine. As soon as you want to do a little more, you don't need to do a little more.
My weight stayed back.
Yeah. You still look like just a little bit of yin.
All right, I have a question. Hall of Famers. What is yin?
We're going to let Don Sutton translate that one.
Well, it's the opposite of yang.
I got you.
Well, yin. He's talking to him about sliding on his legs, because when he talked to him about using a little bit of that.
Well, he got a little bit of yin.
Yes, he did.
Michael Tucker and out of here.
I think that may have hit on the warning track and bounced out.
Hard to tell with those lights, isn't it, out there?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a double. See, not much yin in the legs there. He stayed back, kept the weight back.
Yeah, just like you do it on the golf course, Don.
Like you did hitting homer.
That's a good sign. Marcus Giles for the last 3 or 4 weeks has not been driving the ball like he can. Remember last year he set a Braves record for doubles in a season. It's only his 15th double this year as he's trying to get his strength back after being out of action for all that time with that broken collarbone. Here's J.D. Drew now. Braves trying to get some runs right back here, down 3-0.
Giles was quoted in an article last week as saying, I can see the ball, my timing is good, but he said it's probably going to take me all winter to get my strength back. Weight program over the winter.
That's one of the better swings he's had. The 0-1 to Drew down the third baseline. That's a fair ball. Marcus Giles can walk home. Down to second, J.D. Drew. There's one of the runs back. It's 3-1. RBI number 78 for J.D. Drew.
And his 21st double and a page out of Barry Bonds' book. Bonds took it the other way for a homer. Drew just shoots it inside of the bag. Look how far off the line Alfonso was playing.
Don't know if it's going to happen tonight or not, but the Braves, especially since the All-Star break, have been a very good come-from-behind team. They've been down even on this last couple of weeks. They've been down as much as 5-1 midway through a game and come back and won. Here's Chipper Jones, who's walked in singles. So there's a lot of confidence there, even though they're down by 2 runs now. Chipper Jones with that single in the 4th inning has hit safely now in 7 straight games. High and deep to right center. Back goes Grissom. We are tied. That's getting them back in a hurry. Chipper Jones with his 25th homer. He's now driven in 72 runs. He needs only 28 more to have that 9th straight 100 RBI season.
And when you're a guy like Reeder who's been going through some struggles and you're successful the first 2 times through the batting order, it's usually the 3rd time for a change of speeds pitcher where if you're going to make mistakes, you're going to get punished for it.
Well, not too many guys can hit the ball that far the opposite way, and Chipper is one of those guys. He just went with that pitch real well.
That's his stroke. When he's hitting the ball left-handed and right-handed, staying back and extending, he hits the ball a long way, and he makes better contact, makes more contact.
You're right about Reeder, too, Don. He has had a lot of games in his career, even in some of his really good years, where 6th, 7th inning, 3rd time around the batting order seems to be a tough time for him in most games. He doesn't go deep into games much beyond the 6th very often.
Well, that 3rd time up, Pete, you've seen everything he's going to throw you. There's nothing left in reserve. There's nothing he can.
And he's got nothing to overpower you with.
Right. And he will not. We've seen it all night long. The guy Scott I was talking to says he will not pitch right-handers inside. So you could just forget about anything inside.
2-0 the count on Franco. Nobody out. 3-3 game. Ball 3.
I know you've talked about it a lot on the air. Pitchers can't pitch inside anymore. Difficult.
Well, there are a lot of organizations that don't want it to happen, but I just think that we've got the fear factor and the argument factor. But how would you like to have played your whole career knowing you were only responsible for 8 inches of the strike zone as a hitter?
It makes it a lot easier to hit that way, no question about it. We just thought it was part of the game.
Who was the most intimidating pitcher you ever faced?
Oh, there was a lot of them. A couple come to mind. Jim Bunning was that type of pitcher. Pitched inside. My ribs still hurt from getting hit by him. And we always felt that if you let the pitcher know that bothered you, they're just going to keep throwing at you.
Well, it ended quick here tonight for Kirk Reeder, didn't it? Had a 3-0 lead going into this inning. Couldn't get anybody out. A double by Marcus Giles, a double by J.D. Drew, a 2-run homer by Chipper Jones, a walk to Julio Franco, and a tie game ends the night for Reeder.
A quick exit for Kurt Reeder. It has been the home run ball that has been the responsible for all the runs. Here's what happened at the top. 3-1 fastball out away. Bonds into the left field corner. That gave the Giants their 3. Then Chipper Jones with a runner at second base. J.D. Drew takes it the other way. That's the hardest part of the ballpark. But we were sitting here between innings, about the 4th inning, and our guest Harmon Killebrew said, "It's going to be home runs deciding this tonight." And boom, here we are.
Well, it happened quick too, didn't it?
Sure did. No score for 5 innings, and all of a sudden we've got a 3-3 game. This is Matt Hergis on in relief of Reeder. First time we saw San Francisco this year, Hergis was the closer for the Giants. He's lost that job now to Dustin Hermanson, who was taken out of the starting rotation to move out there because Hergis's ERA has taken a hit up to 5.5 now. This will be a 62nd game.
Well, that earned run average is up over 5, but if you look further into the numbers, he's allowing 2 base runners an inning.
83 hits in 58 innings. Wow.
Throw in there a bunch of walks, and he's pitched out of the stretch a lot.
Andrew Jones with the runner at first. Andrew's 0 for 2 tonight. He's popped to first and struck out. Into left field. Franco to second. 5 straight of reach for Atlanta here in the 6th inning. I guess when you're on a roll like this, and the Braves have won 41 of their last 56 games, and you've done it so often coming from behind, there's no lead that's going to scare you, right, Harmon?
No, that's right. I think that in order to win, that's the type of ball club you have. It's happened to the Twins a lot this year, too. They've come back, and any ball club, I think, that wins a lot, you have to come from behind to win.
Take every inning as well as just a matter of time.
Sure.
Don't worry. That was a Harvey Keene philosophy with Harvey was wall banger.
That was a great inning club, too.
Yeah. What he used to say is he'd look at the scoreboard and you'd see that the Brewers were down 4-0, and he'd say, "Heck, the way I figured, we're up by 3. Go ahead, let's play."
Oh, right now you got a team like the Yankees, for example. I'm sure they don't panic down by 3 runs midway through a game. So that lineup of theirs. Here's Eli Marrero. One ball, no strikes.
Giants are looking for bunt, but I don't think you're going to see Eli Marrero bunting.
He's going to take a shot to right field, maybe, or what would he do here?
It would be more difficult for him than maybe any other right-hander in the lineup. He is a dead pull hitter, likes to hit the fastball, but we've seen him before change his swing to roll it to the right side.
Up to 350 with 8 hits in his last 14 at bats.
And become one of the best on the club with runners in scoring position.
Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, didn't show bunt, did he?
And you want to make a quick move if you're the pitcher like that. Bring the leg up as though you're coming home and try to get the hitter to tip it off. See, that could hurt a pitcher's feelings. He gives signs to all the other guys and then yells to the pitcher what he's supposed to do.
1 ball, no strikes, and Marrero. Giants bullpen has been scuffling of late.
Bill Rigney, that I mentioned earlier, would rather see a 99 hopper to right field than a 3-run home run in this situation. I never saw anybody that was so thrilled over a ground ball to right field.
An old school type, right?
Alfonso quarterbacks the infield, and Marrero steps back in 2-0. Strike in the outside corner.
Bob Allison, what kind of hitter was he?
Bob was just a big, strong guy. I think he could have been a better hitter, only it was pretty as flexible at the plate. He was so strong, and the best numbers he threw up in the minor leagues was 10 home runs in Chattanooga. But he came to the big leagues, and his first year he had 30 home runs. He was just a very powerful guy. 230, 6'4".
And the reason I ask you that is it seemed to me I have a picture in my mind of him opening up slightly and dropping his hands a little to swing. Is that incorrect?
Yeah.
And that's Marrero. Marrero is a dead inside hitter. Anything middle in, even to a couple of inches off the plate inside, especially if it's straight, you're not going to get it by it. Starts open, opens up a little more, and just beats on inside pitches.
Little chopper that Hergis is only going to have one play on. That's as good as a bunt. Gets the runners to second and third. And it'll bring up Eddie Perez with one out.
Worked out.
Bill Rigney would have absolutely loved that.
Loved that one, yeah.
Let me ask you about a former pitching teammate of yours, Jim Cott.
Oh, Jim.
Hall of Fame, yes or no? I've always thought he belongs.
Yeah, well, I agree with that.
Let me throw two other names with it. Bert Blyleven and Tommy John.
Absolutely, Blyleven. I can't imagine how Blyleven.
You know, next year, so those are guys that I think deserve to be there.
They may still be on the ballot. The one guy that I really feel bad that I didn't know how good he was. I knew about Oliva was Veda Pinson.
Yeah, Veda. I played with Veda my last year, and he got over 2,800 hits, and he was an excellent outfielder. He did everything well, and I think he deserves it too.
Now explain to the fans again how this Veterans Committee now has changed. It used to be a panel of people that would vote every year. Now it's the living Hall of Famers that first they look at a ballot that's put together by the writers. Is that correct?
That's right. Last year, I think the last time we voted, they had like, I don't know, 2,600 players on the list, and they pared it down to 26 players, and nobody got in.
Every living Hall of Famer and the Ford C. Frick winners, all the Hall of Famers were given a ballot, and I believe you could list up to 10 players.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
And this year there will be another vote, correct?
There will be, but just like in the regular Hall of Fame ballot, you had to be named on 75% of the ballot.
That's correct.
But one of the reasons that they disbanded the old way of doing it is it got to be so political, and they were having everything but fist fights.
Well, we've got a bases loaded situation here with one out. They're going to let Jarrett Wright hit.
One of the things I'd like to see is that they expanded to the announcers to vote. They see the players more than the writers do usually.
Nothing in one on Wright. Wright had a base hit in the 5th inning.
But right now, only the announcers in the broadcast wing of the Hall of Fame are eligible to vote.
Perez at first, Jones at second, Franco over at third. Braves trying to grab the lead here after falling behind 3-0. Now it's 3-3.
And the hitter's right.
He
swing as hard as you can in case you hit it.
Dave Kingman.
I remember they had a pretty good hitter by the name of Cloninger when he was pitching here.
Oh,
yes. 2 grand slams in one inning. And I think right now, if you're the Braves, you would rather see him strike out than hit the ball on the ground, most certainly.
He has 5 hits this year and 45 at-bats, 1 homer, which was his first career home run.
Big, strong-looking guy, isn't he?
The 0-2.
Gets a bite down. Look at that. Hergis forgot about the play at the plate. Przinsky can't believe it. Hergis had a play at the plate, and he turned his back on it, and the Braves lead it 4-3. And Philippe Alou is absolutely livid.
And so is A.J. Przinsky.
That was not a squeeze play. I'm convinced Jarrett Wright did that on his own.
He's telling him right now that he had plenty of time to go to home with that ball.
See, you look at the base runner. He's not coming. It's not a squeeze play. What Jarrett Wright said is, I'm going to push the ball to the right side. Right now, Hergis had him by 25 feet.
Unbelievable that he wouldn't throw home here.
That is just vapor lock.
Well, the Braves have taken a 4-3 lead in the least likely way. Alou can't believe it. Pierzynski couldn't believe it. I don't think anybody wearing a Giants uniform could believe that. Wright will get an RBI, his third.
And might give a sacrifice. Should.
And Rafael Furcal will bat now with runners second and third, 2 outs. My goodness.
Just when you think you've seen everything. Huh?
Just when you think you have. Isn't that true, though, about this game?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we've talked about how many times in the past, most of the times in the past, if you were the pitcher, you were taught to wear the game around you, to feel it. So you have your mind already made up what you're going to do. And you know anything back to you if you're the pitcher, the first place you're going to look is home and try to get an out there. So that appeared to be just absolutely losing sight of what was going on around him.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Furcal. 2 balls, no strikes. Barry, every time I look at Barry Bonds in Atlanta, in left field, it always seems it's in a situation like this. When he was with Pittsburgh, he was the victim of 2 7-inning series, championship series. Came to the Giants the first year in 1993. They won 103 games. Braves won 104 in the same division. He's always playing games in Atlanta that have disappointing endings for his team, seemingly. Although they did come in here and beat the Braves in a division series one year. 2-1. But so many times Atlanta has been the roadblock that's kept Barry Bonds out of postseason.
And there have been so many freaky plays, too, unusual plays.
2-1 the count on Furcal. He was standing out there in left field watching that last one. That'll be talked about for a long time if the Giants fall short. Two-one pitch. Furcal trying to extend his hitting streak. He's 0 for 3 tonight.
And I think that's probably a swing Terry Pendleton would rather he didn't have in his repertoire. That power swing.
Boy, with the wheels he's got, all he's got to do is get the bat on the ball, doesn't he?
You pat your glove twice. He's beat it out.
I might have hit 260 if I had his legs.
How many infield singles you get? 3 or 4?
Not many, Don.
Here's the 2-2. 3-2.
He's trying to stay on his hands, too. He's still thinking about that play.
He'll be thinking about that all night. I'll guarantee you. Unless the Giants come back and win this game, that play will be on his mind. The last thing he thinks of tonight and the first thing he thinks of tomorrow morning when he wakes up.
He used that a right feet vapor lock, I guess.
Man. 3-2. Here's the pitch. Still a full count.
I could see you and I were talking earlier about how competitive Pierzynski is. You could see that on that play.
Oh, yeah.
He was very unhappy.
Yeah. He came to win, that guy.
Well, we'll do it again. 3-2 and Furcal. He walked him. Felipe Alou starting out of the Giants dugout. There's going to be a double switch, and I think if I were Matt Hergis, I might just leave them out as quickly as I could when Felipe arrives out there. Going to be a double switch made as the pitching change. The second of the inning will take place. Dustin Moore is coming into the game. He's going out to right field. Looks like Michael Tucker is going to move to center. And Marquise Grissom is coming out. While all this is going on, we'll check in with Mark Fine back in our studios. Mark.
All right, thanks, Pete. We'll let you get things sorted out there at Turner Field. And as the offense gets going for the Braves, let's check in on the team that is offense personified this season. St. Louis, 3 guys with 30 home runs this year. Could they get to 40 each? Maybe. Jim Edmonds doing his best. Second of the game against Pittsburgh off Ryan Vogel's song. He now has 35 on the season. They lead at 8-5. Back to more baseball after a quick timeout.
Braves up 4-3 in what's been a remarkable sixth inning. Started out with a Barry Bonds home run and then wound up with a mental mistake by a Giants pitcher that gave the Braves the lead. Dustin Moore in right field. Michael Tucker has moved to center, and Tyler Walker, the new pitcher, will bat in Marquise Grissom's spot, the number 6 spot in the order. Moore will be batting 9th. Walker's 43rd game. Former New York Met.
And also a San Francisco native, only the 9th in their history to ever play on their ball club. Major League Baseball and Boys and Girls Clubs of America are sending kids to the ballpark in support of childhood cancer research. Tickets are available in every market for a donation of just $1 and a dollar well spent. Log on to MLB.com to get more information.
Well, the inning began with a Marcus Giles double to right center, and he's up for the second time now with the bases loaded. 4 runs are in.
Giles, one of only 2 in the lineup who've had it at bat against Walker. The other one being Julio Franco.
22nd time this year the Braves have batted around in an inning.
Seems like a lot.
It is. And the Braves have won all but one of those games. Saw the runners. Jones at third, Perez at second, for call at first. 2 men out. One ball, 1 strike. One of the things that the fans really seem to like about this team this year, and it's very true, is that unlike some of the past Braves teams, where most of the firepower came in the middle of the order, 3, 4, and 5, you can get a big inning going anywhere in this batting order this year.
Is there more running on this team this year than in past?
A little bit lately. But a lot of RBIs from the 7 and 8 spots. The leadoff hitter, Rafael for calls, had a bunch of them lately. A 4-run inning highlighted by a Chipper Jones home run and a huge mental mistake by a Giants pitcher. Give the Braves the lead. Earlier tonight we showed you the story of a Little League baseball team that learned there's more to the game than winning and losing. In part 2 of Braves TBS Baseball Kids, the Habersham Mudcats tell us about their very special coach, Wally Owens.
At the starting of the year, I didn't know that I was sick with some heart problems. About the middle of the year, I got put in the hospital.
We didn't get to see him through our last game. He had heart surgery.
They gave me a signed baseball while I was in the hospital.
While we were playing games and he wasn't there, we pretended that he was there.
We just tried to make the best out of it, you know, and kept Wally in our prayers.
We thought in our hearts that Coach Wally would always be beside us, and we never gave up. And we never surrendered. We love you, Coach Wally!
Here we go, 7th inning, 4-3.
It's a great story. With
Michael Tucker leading off against Jared Wright, who now has a lead to work with. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tucker and then Cruz and then Moore, who came in as part of the double switch.
And we're reaching the part of the game where Jarrett Wright will not go too deep into account with a hitter or get a runner on without you seeing some activity out in the right field bullpen.
As the season has gone on and Jarrett Wright's continued to pitch well, Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni have gone a little deeper and deeper into games with him. Early in the year, he was coming out after 5 innings if he had 5 good innings. Now he's, for the most part, going 7 most of his starts. Fly ball, left center. This will be Andrew Jones, 1 away.
And a part of it is that he has been able to, even after getting a little fatigue, to continue to make quality strikes. Behind in the count, that's a perfect 0-2 pitch he threw, and he threw it 3-1.
Here's Davy Cruz now. He's 0 for 2. Had something happen between innings too. Interesting. Barry Bonds often being criticized for being a very selfish player. Look who the first guy was over to talk to Matt Herges after that boo-boo in the bottom half of the 6th inning that cost what could be the winning run. He was the first guy over to him when the Giants came off the field.
Very quietly, and Herges just kept nodding, and very concerned look on both their faces.
What do you say to a player in a situation like that?
I guess probably what he said was, you know, everybody's been in that situation one time in their career. Just don't do it again, right, Don?
Yeah, too much on the line for that to happen. It happens to everybody sometime.
He must feel horrible. He must feel just awful right now, sitting in that dugout, knowing he could have prevented this 4-3 lead. Chipper Jones across to Franco for out number 2. And here it was again.
Jarrett Wright with 2 strikes. I'm convinced bunting on his own because Franco wasn't coming. Herges has it now with plenty of time and didn't even glance to the plate.
Moore batting for the first time now. 281 with 7 homers, 22 RBIs.
Came over from the Twins, and he was really one of the reasons I think the Twins had won their division championship the last couple of years. He did a great job filling in different positions. He played all the outfield positions, and particularly in right field did a great job.
One of the things the Minnesota Twins have done a remarkable job at, and they've done a remarkable job at this for a long time, is developing talent through a very strong farm system.
That's right.
That's been a very strong part of the Twins organization for years. And you know, you can do it. I guess if you've got George Steinbrenner's money, you can do it that way, but there's no better way to do it than to grow your own. And even the nucleus of this Braves ball club is homegrown.
No, that's true. The Twins, what, 50-some million, I guess, would probably be their top payroll.
Well, Harmon Killebrew, we enjoyed having you with us here tonight. Thank you so much. Good to see you. We'll do it again.
We can talk about home runs in Hall of Fame, but this sums up Harmon Killebrew. Life is precious and time is a key element. Let's make every moment count and help those who have a greater deed than our own. That's what you said.
Thank you, Don.
Only 3 right.
Funny looking line score, isn't it? All those zeros and everything happening in 1 inning for both teams. Here's J.D. Drew leading off the 7th.
Come on, kid.
Our thanks again to Harmon Killebrew for being with us tonight. What a great guy.
Classy man. Very talented man.
J.D. Drew doubled in a run in that 6th inning when the Braves scored all 4 of their runs and hit the ball the other way down the left field line with a runner down at second base. Marcus Giles, who came around to score. Brother Tim telling Terry Pendleton I taught him everything he knows about hitting. And to right center field. Tucker there for the catch. And that'll bring up Chipper Jones.
Speaking of teaching guys about hitting, Charlie Manuel, who is assistant GM up in Philadelphia and managed and hit a ton of home runs in Japan. Just to show you Harmon Killebrew had a sense of humor. Charlie Manuel said, Harmon told me don't chew gum at the plate. It makes your eyeballs bounce up and down. Wonder what he thought of sunflower seeds.
Chipper Jones has walked, singled, homered, now has 72 RBIs, now has 12 hits in his last 29 at bats. Batting average up to 255. That may not sound like much, but it certainly sounds a lot better than the 210, 215 that Chipper was hitting a month and a half, 2 months ago. He had 34 RBIs at the All-Star break. He's had 38 RBIs since the All-Star break. And now has a shot at getting to 100 again. Tyler Walker falls behind in the count 3-0.
One of the things that's going to serve the Braves well during this stretch too with Chipper is, as much as he would like to have that, he's going to be patient enough to take walks. be selective because, as you have pointed out a number of times, and he is reaffirmed to us over and over, never not played in postseason anywhere.
And he's not putting any pressure on himself. At least he tells us he's not, and I believe him.
I do too.
To get to the 100 RBIs. He just wants this team to win and to get to postseason and do everything he can to help get him there after he feels letting them down the first half of the season. John Smoltz made the remark at the All-Star break that he was going to predict that Chipper Jones would be the team MVP the second half of the year. He said he's too good a player to continue to have the kind of season he's had so far. And John is proving to be a pretty good prognosticator. Yeah, there's ball 4 to Chipper. He's on for the 4th time tonight. First walk given up by Walker. That'll bring up Julio Franco. Franco 0 for 2 with a walk. And now he's back down to 298 again, which means that his career average has probably dropped a little bit under 300. He's grounded out to short. That was a 1-6-3 double play that he had into in the 4th inning. And then walked and scored in the 6th. He's the guy that scored on that misplay by Hergis. You keep thinking about that play and thinking about it. What could he have been thinking? And one thought that crossed my mind was, I bet he forgot they even had a runner at third. He must have thought there were runners first and second, the pitcher bunting, kind of an automatic thing. You field, you throw to first, and you get the out, and the sacrifice moves the runners up. He must have simply just forgotten that that runner was at third. He did glance there, and Pierzynski was calling for the ball, but for whatever reason, he turned away and threw to first and let that go-ahead run score.
And if I can throw just a very weak defense for him out there, if he's thinking it is a squeeze play on a ball pushed that far to the right, your first thought is if it's a squeeze play, you're not going to get him anyway.
Because the runner would have broken.
But when you look, you have time to wait to measure whether or not, and your catcher is the guy calling the signals on all of those. And Pierzynski had veins bulging in his neck, so there wasn't any doubt what he was thinking.
1 ball, 1 strike on Franco. You could see Chipper Jones extending that lead at first on our leadoff line out to the green zone, which he doesn't get out that far very often.
He's only tried one, and he was successful, and that's a go zone.
That's a big lead for him. It's got Walker a little concerned.
That move back to the infield's got the hamstring well. Maybe he's feeling a little frisky. That's a huge lead for him.
And Walker throws over.
We're not the only ones noticing it.
Yep.
I guarantee over in their dugout, they're aware that it's larger, and I'm convinced Pierzynski is watching it too.
That's the kind of thing when teams start a new series and you haven't seen a team in a while, like is the case with the Giants tonight. Braves haven't seen the Giants since back in May or early June. They will have a team meeting and they'll sit down and they'll go over the personnel in the Giants ball club, and they'll pass along what the advanced scouts and what their own scouting reports tell you. And it'll include things like if Walker's on the mound, you can take a little bit of an extra lead. He's a little bit slow getting over to first base, so extend your lead a little bit at first. That's the kind of thing they pass along at those meetings, and it's up to you to remember them. Coaches will help you.
And they have the cliff notes of those meetings right there by them in the dugout.
Yeah.
The thick stack of all the reports are not there, but usually Bobby Cox has what looks like a little diary or a little personal phone book that he kind of refers to.
That's quite a scene. It always kind of tickles me because you think of baseball players being in dugouts wearing uniforms, chewing those sunflower seeds and spitting them out, and you walk in there the first day of the series and there's a boardroom atmosphere. The coaches in their uniform, all with their notebooks out in front of them, and the chairman of the board is the manager sitting at the head of the table with, okay, what do we have on Hergis? What do we have on Walker? And the scouting reports are read by, for the most part, Alan Butts, who's in charge of all of that. Also the Braves bullpen catcher. a business-like situation. First strikeout for Walker, second out of the inning, and Andrew Jones will be the batter. A little more sophisticated than fastballs in, breaking balls away.
Take a little off, put a little on. High and tight, low and away. My favorite line ever, though, on a scouting report, I swear, postseason, first line of the meeting, first hitter, opening line. This guy can be knocked down.
Can't they all?
Yeah, well, what do you do next then? Where do we go from there?
Andrew 1 for 3. Runner at first with 2 outs now. Bounces one to third. Alfonso across the diamond. And that's all for Atlanta in the 7th.
TBS Sports Control presented by MasterCard. Well, you've been voting all night at AtlantaBraves.com on what music you wanted to hear with our Braves Highlight Extreme. The winner, Linkin Park. Listen up, it's good.
Three Atlanta as we go to the 8th inning. Chris Reitzman taking over for Jared Wright, who pitched another good ball game. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. He walked 1. He struck out 4. Now the bullpen will try to save it for him. Reitzman, busiest Braves pitcher, his 68th game.
Got some good news yesterday. He found out he's going to join teammate Johnny Estrada on that all-star team going to Japan.
Good. I didn't hear that. That's a great trip. They take it at the end of October, early November. Go over there and play all the Japanese teams or all-star teams over there, and they play in a variety of stadiums. They treat them like kings over there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They are great fans in Japan.
Ball game there is an event, and they are very knowledgeable fans.
Yes, they are. Here's the 1-2 on the way. Look out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reitzman 6-3 with 1 save and a .353 earned run average. He's had a lot of innings lately where he's gotten the first 2 outs very quickly and then had a little bit of trouble getting that 3rd one. See how it goes for him in this inning. Fly ball right field. Long run for J.D. Drew. He's there. He's got it. 1 down. And now J.T. Snow, who's 2 out of 3 and having the best offensive year of his career. And he has not had many 2-hit games against the Braves in his career. A 181 lifetime average against Atlanta and 171 at bats coming into tonight. No strikes. Marlins beat the Rockies 3-0. They're the closest to the Braves in the East. 9.5 back, though.
Good outing for Ishmael Valdez. Combined with a couple of other pitchers, well, actually 3 others, to pitch a 4-hitter.
Houston beat the Cubs today. So the Giants really want to win this game because they were a game behind the Cubs in the wild card race coming in.
Well, I think you always like to win the first game of a series. That just kind of puts you in a good mood for the rest of it. But for the Giants, a win now would put them in an especially good mood because they got Jason Schmidt on the mound tomorrow.
Their ace. Fly ball center field. Andrew Jones cruising over for out number 2.
College football season is here, and it returns to TBS this fall. It all kicks off on September the 11th as the Houston Cougars take on Joe Simpson's number 2 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. That's the Big 12 Pac-10 college football all this fall on TBS. Joe will be unbearable that day.
Yes, he will be. He'll be singing that Boomer Sooner song from the moment he wakes in the morning to until he finds out the result of that game.
He just last year learned the lyrics, so he's kind of proud of it.
1 ball, no strikes on Edgardo Alfonso. A single, a fly to center, and a force play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The voice you heard, was that of Skip Carey?
Over on the radio side. Down the right field line, J.D. Drew, long run. Runs out of room, 1-2.
We talked earlier about the defense and how the Giants play it pretty much straight up. Braves against Alfonso shade him way to right. That's why J.D. Drew almost had an easy time of that. You got left-hander, or you got left fielder Eli Marrero 115 feet off the left field line. And that will change pitcher to pitcher. There's a Secretary of the Defense, Pat Corrales.
Still a ball and 2 strikes. 95 miles an hour on that fastball from Reitzman.
He has 3 quality pitches. The one that he doesn't use as much in this 1-inning role is his curveball. He has a dandy curveball.
Here's the 1-2 to Alfonso. Up and in, 2-2. There's the man you would love to see leading off the 9th instead of hitting with a man aboard here in the 8th.
There are some players, and you see it in Los Angeles with Eric Gagne and with Beltre and Bonds. It doesn't matter what the score is. If it's 11-0, fans are not going to leave till they're sure it's his last at bat.
Yeah, I want to see him hit one more time.
Gagne's not going to be in the ball game.
Well, he definitely sells tickets. No question about it. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Foul away again. And this is what we mean with Reitzman. He'll get 2 quick outs. He might get this 3rd out. He might not. But it always seems to take a while on that 3rd hitter. Here's the 2-2 now to Alfonso. And he gets a base hit to right. And Barry Bonds will bat. And here's what our dugout in Atlanta sounded like when Bonds was hitting in the 6th.
I go up and in right here, though. I'll tell you that now. Yeah, you got to come in. Can't leave that thing out over the plate. Ball's gone. That's why you don't pitch to him right there.
That seems to be the consensus about this guy. Reitzman coming out of the game after giving up that 2-out single to Edgardo Alfonso. And you'll hear some noise from this place when a confrontation. Well, no, it's going to be the left-hander, Tom Martin. I thought we were going to see John Smoltz coming out of the pen, but not yet. It's going to be Martin, the lefty, facing Bonds.
Time for our Holiday Inn Express in the booth question comes from H.G. McKinney from Owensboro. And Mr. McKinney wants to know, last night's play at the plate, J.D. Drew got an assist. Marcus Giles was in the middle of that. What did he get credited with? Well, for the 2nd time in a couple of weeks, a play like this evolved. Drew digs it out of the corner. A strike to Giles. He, while pivoting, throws a strike to Estrada. The out is recorded. Drew gets an assist, and Marcus Giles gets an assist on that play. So both of them, since they handle the ball where there was a successful put out at the plate, yes, 2 assists, Marcus. That's exactly right. And we thank you for your question. H.G. McKinney from Owensboro.
Here we go again with Barry Bonds at the plate. Tom Martin making his 14th Atlanta appearance, his 61st appearance overall. He's faced Bonds a lot. Being over with the Dodgers, all the Dodger-Giant matchups in that division. He's faced him 13 times and gotten 3 hits, no homers.
I think we're going to get a pinch runner, too.
We will. And it'll be Brian Ransom.
If you're going to pinch run, this was a long time evolving, wasn't it?
Yes.
You've had 5 or 6 minutes. And now when Martin is ready, do you decide to do it?
And it'll be Bonds with Ransom running at first. And 2 outs here in the 8th inning, and the Braves up by 1. Well, it doesn't matter lefty or righty with Bonds. You just got to be careful. And you heard the best advice probable from Terry Pendleton when you were looking at that replay of the 6th inning home run. You can't leave the ball out over the plate.
You let him extend his arms, he'll hit it anywhere. He's hit .302 against lefty. A half a dozen homers this year.
694 home runs in a remarkable career. He has 82 RBIs now this year. Takes a strike. That home run, by the way, in the 6th inning, his first hit in 9 at-bats on this road trip for the Giants, and Bonds not too thrilled about that call by Ed Montague.
And a different defensive setup in the outfield. In the infield, you got we got 3 of the guys on the right side, 2 of them on the outfield grass for Call and Giles.
It's almost like when you get a situation like this in a 1-run game, you encourage him to try to go the other way. They'll take that. They'll take a base hit to left.
Hit a blooper to left. And what the outfield is doing, Marrero and Jones and Drew are playing deeper than normal. They want to cut off the possibility of an extra base hit.
Next pitch to Bonds, right down the middle. Good pitch, strike 2. Bonds didn't like that call either. I don't know what he had to complain about on that one.
The first one could have been questionable, but that one had a whole lot of the plate.
That's right down the middle, bell high. 1 ball, 2 strikes, crowd on its feet.
Eddie Perez is going to run out and say, Tom, I don't think we want to throw that pitch again. That was a hanging curveball. And it didn't break. If it broke more, it might have gotten hit, but it kind of stayed and just hung there, and Bonds jammed himself.
Besides the batting average, besides the home runs, besides the RBIs, and the 183 walks, only 26 strikeouts for Bonds in over 400 plate appearances. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Still 1-2. Once again, Martin's 1-2 pitch to Bonds. Just missed outside with that off-speed breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Every Giants fan saying good call. Every Braves fan wants to help Ed Montague.
Here comes the 2-2. Strike 3 call, and Bonds knew it. He must have been looking for something away, and Martin came on the inside corner.
Think it's impossible.
Baseball Friday Night Extra, brought to you by Krylon Fusion, the original no-prep Super Bond paint for plastic. And the Home Depot. Go from wondering how to knowing how. At the Home Depot, you can do it. We can help.
It'll be Eli Marrero, Eddie Perez, and then the pitcher's spot due up for Atlanta here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. We were looking in the Braves dugout between the top of the 8th and the bottom half of the 8th, and Tom Martin absolutely ecstatic, even though that's the 5th time he has struck out Barry Bonds in 14 career appearances. There's Cody Ransom staying in the game at 3rd, and we're not exactly sure what was being talked about down there, but by some of the responses it almost looks down like, and we'll take a look at the pitch sequence in a moment, but it almost looks like Tom Martin tried something he never tried before.
No, I don't think he tried to do it. I think the ball slipped out of his hand.
Do you?
He was trying to go out away from him again, and the ball just tumbled out of his hands. It's a pitch he doesn't own, but Leo Mazzoni wants him to work on it tomorrow. It did, because he kept doing the action of turning his hand over, just
like the ball slipped.
Yeah, the action he was giving you. Yeah, it was a wounded duck that came out of there. And for Bonds, it was something he hadn't seen from him before.
Well, it worked. He got the strikeout. We'll show you the sequence again after Marrero hits the 1-1, 1-2 on Eli. It was 1 for 3 tonight.
He made 3 or 4 terrific pitches to Bonds, and then has a ball slip on him and locks him up. That's the secret. You got to put that in the scouting report.
Throwing something that you don't throw.
Well, here it is. Let's check it out. First pitch to him. Out away from him now. He's going out there with a fastball. That's a perfect spot. Bonds thought, Braves dugout thought that one should have been 2. Strike 2. He's going to work the curveball in and get it fouled away. Got away with a hanger. Fastball fouled away. Then he's going to miss with the curveball that he thought should have gotten the call. Now here's the duck. What was that?
It had a little screwball action to it, didn't
He's
it?
still laughing about it. Yeah.
He was probably watching it on the monitor down there in the dugout. Saw it again. He said, you know, I might want to work on that some more. 0-1 the count on Eddie Perez. Perez tonight, a double play, a single and a walk.
Now, it's fun when you can get away with one of those, and not just get away with it against any. Come on, Eddie. Harry Schwartz from Mobile, Alabama, to get away with Barry Bonds. He can't believe it either. Good crowd tonight, Pete. 37,178.
Harry could hit off-speed stuff.
He could?
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't a good idea.
Here's the 1-1. In the air to center field, where Michael Tucker is now on grass patrol. 2 down. And this will be Charles Thomas pinch hitting for Martin.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. For the Braves, the number 2 for Martin, number 26, Charles Thomas.
Walker has done a good job since coming on. He's working in his 3rd inning. He got the final out in the 6th inning, worked a scoreless 7th. Now he's gotten the first 2 outs in the 8th. It's the kind of relief stint you don't see that often anymore. Pitcher going longer than a couple of innings. Ball 1 to Thomas. Comes in at 3-0. No call, strike. Jerry Lane's heading one around. So it's 0-1.
And all Charles Thomas was asking there was a definition of why it was a strike. Questioning the call, just did I go around?
0-2.
It looks like a hard splitter, doesn't it? Like the one that Roger Craig used to teach all the Giant pitchers. Not used as an off-speed pitch. It's either that or a very tight spin on his slider. Looks more like a splitter.
The 0-2 on the way. Miss, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Due up in the 9th inning for San Francisco, A.J. Przinsky, the pitcher's spot, and then Michael Tucker. It'll no doubt be John Smoltz coming on to try to record the final 3 outs.
We talked about a lot of reasons for the Braves getting better after May. One of them has been the guys coming off the bench. They're hitting better than .270 for the year. That's good for a whole collection of pinch hitters.
Anything above .250 is excellent for pinch hit average for a team. And there's another pinch hit dropping in off the bat of Charles Thomas. That's the first hit off of Walker. And it'll get the Braves back around to the top of the order. And Rafael Furcal is 0 for 3 with a walk. All the guys behind him have extended their hitting streaks. Giles is now hitting 6 straight. Drew is now hit in 6 straight. Chipper's now hit in 7 straight. And Furcal 0 for 3 as he tries to hit the 10th straight game. Jason Schmidt against Paul Bird tomorrow. Russ Ortiz for the Braves on Sunday. The Giants unsure now who they're going to start Sunday. That's a night game. And then Monday afternoon, John Thompson against Noah Lowry. Hearing some good things about him. And then the Braves head north. They have a trip next week, 2 games at Philadelphia and 3 in Montreal.
Braves have used 6 starters. The Giants have used 7. And that Noah Lowry you're talking about off to a 3-0 start.
Supposed to have an outstanding changeup. Runner going. The pitch is low. The throw is late. Thomas with his 2nd stolen base. See, the Braves must have had a report on Walker that he's a little bit deliberate to the plate because they've been taking big leads and now they're running on him.
Probably a little deliberate to the plate, and he might telegraph coming to first. So you know right away when he's coming to first, so you can kind of take a bigger lead, but with an eye on something telling you if he's coming over. If you don't see it, take off. That'll be worth a step and a half.
Now the 1-0 pitch to Furcal in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Come on, wrap it.
Boy, one more run would seem huge with Smoltz coming out of the pen.
It's 2-1. Dodgers about to lose a game to the Mets. It's 9-1 New York. They're in the 9th inning, which means if the Braves can hold on and win this one, they will move ahead of Los Angeles and have the 2nd best record in the National League next to St. Louis. That means home field advantage in the playoffs if you finish there. at least in the first round. 3-1. There you see the Dodgers 74 and 53. They're about to lose their 54th game. The Braves are going to be 74 and 53. The Braves are right now 73 and 53. That was incorrect numbers for Atlanta's record. So the Braves will move a half game ahead of the Dodgers. And the count 3-2 on Rafael Furcal.
And what it could mean if they finish second and the wild card happens to be Chicago is that the Braves would take the wild.
They would play the wild card team, sure,
in the first round and get the extra game at home.
Would that be strange? All 4 to Furcal. I don't mean the wild card team facing Atlanta and getting the extra game at home, but the Braves finished the season in Chicago against the Cubs. They would play the Cubs in a 3-game series to finish the regular season, and if it winds up being the Braves and the Cubs in the playoffs, they would pick up again with the Cubs 2 or 3 days later.
Might just get an apartment there.
You could have 8 straight games against the Cubs. Long way to go, though, before we get to that point. First and second with Marcus Giles coming to the plate. Dave Righetti out to the mound. Dave Righetti had a very similar career to that of John Smoltz. He was a starting pitcher when he first came up, and a good one, and became one of the better closers in baseball the latter half of his career.
Boy, could he run it in on right.
Yes, he could.
Big biting slider, good live fastball, and the guts of a burglar.
Marcus Giles tonight 2 out of 4.
We've been talking a lot about Barry Bonds and his chase of Hank Aaron and his home run total. This is a anniversary night of sorts for our Braves family. Willie Mays hit his 400th career homer 36 years ago tonight. 1968. Walker's digging himself a hole where he's going to have to come in with a strike. Giles, a good cripple shooter.
2-0. There's a strike, 2-1.
That's a phrase from bird hunting. When you get the count your favor, 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, and you're pretty sure a pitcher has to throw a strike.
Here's the 2-1 delivery. Little bouncing ball to third. Ransom.
Hey, come on!
Low throw.
Threw it by Snow. Another giant mistake. Another Atlanta run. Wow, the Giants have given away 2 runs. Another easy routine play. And Cody Ransom just got a lollipop that ball over to first. One hop it right past the first baseman, J.T. Snow. It's 5-3. He may get punished trying to get style points here. He keeps it, throws it on the run instead of planning and throwing. See where Giles is? Giles was 5 steps from the bag. If he sets, throws, inning over. He didn't, flipped it on the run. Those are good hands there, but even J.T. Snow couldn't hang on to that one.
That is sweet. My pride and joy. Oh, it looks new. Like
We invite Friday night. That's our next TBS Baseball Friday Night Extra, September the 3rd. Braves will be up in Montreal to take on the Expo. 7 o'clock Eastern, we'll have tips and tricks and TBS Baseball kids. Charles Thomas will be wearing a mic for us, catcher cam, and much, much more. And the gentleman you're looking at there will be joining us on Friday Night Extra. That special guest analyst, Brooks Robinson. It's the Braves and the Expos 1 week from tonight on our next Friday Night Extra.
New pitcher is left-hander Jason Christensen. He is making his 51st appearance. 3-2 with a 4.15 ERA to bringing him in to face the left-hand hitting J.D. Drew. Well, how well do you think Felipe Alou will sleep tonight if this game ends like this? A mental mistake by his pitcher back in the 6th inning to give the Braves a 1-run lead. And then an error by a rookie third baseman here in the 8th inning to give him a little insurance. They have virtually handed this game to Atlanta.
And both of those are, in tennis, would be called unforced errors.
Yep.
There's no excuse for Hergis not knowing what was going on, and Ransom had all day long to throw out Giles.
J.D. Drew is 1 for 4. He had an RBI double facing Christensen. In a position now to break this one wide open. A base hit would mean a couple of runs. You saw Brzezinski look for a call back to the bag at third. Raphael had raced about at least a good third of the way home, maybe even more than that.
Left-hander, when he's taking a stretch, his back is to the runner at third. You can go as far as the third baseman is away from the bag.
Here's the 0-1.
Look out. That's 2 times this week I have successfully avoided a baseball in the booth. I got a streak going
right between us.
Yeah, perfectly.
0-2.
Where's Killebrew when we need him?
Yeah, Killebrew should have been here with the glove. Stop those line drives.
We'll have Brooks Robinson next week. He'll catch it.
That's why we're getting Brooks up here. 0-2 on J.D. Drew. One ball, 2 strikes.
I think the stadium must be aging a little bit because the first 3 or 4 years none ever came in here. Now they're starting to get to us.
Didn't even get scratched up much.
Not yet.
That's right. Give it. I'll let you take care of that. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out with a high fastball. So Christensen comes in and gets the job done, but wow, the Giants self-destructed in this one. Now John Smoltz has a 2-run lead to protect. 5-3 Atlanta.
Before you
1-1 pitch. A long drive to right. Ramirez turns to the track. She's gone. The wind and the pitch. Here it is. Swung. Fly ball deep left center. Grissom on the run. Yes! 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 The Atlanta Braves have given you a championship.
9 out of 10 folks logging on to AtlantaBraves.com voted for the '95 World Championship as tonight's Braves Extra Special Moment. Head to AtlantaBraves.com. Vote for next week's Extra Special Moment. Now back to an extra special game, guys.
That's been a good one, Mark. 5-3. Braves are up. John Smoltz on to try to close the deal now as he tries for his 35th save. Crowd of 37,178, and most of them still here. John Smoltz has kind of reached that stage, Don, where fans will stick around to see if he's going to get in the game, watch him pitch. Closers have become superstars in this game of Major League Baseball, and they're keeping fans in the ballpark longer. A.J. Brzezinski leads off here in the 9th inning. He's 1 for 3. Fouls back the first one. Smoltz making his 60th appearance, 34 saves. One odd thing about Smoltz's record this year: no wins, no losses. The 0-1. 0-2.
Pretty good indication of a couple of things. One, that he hasn't been used in many tie games or in many games where he's behind and the team comes back, and that he hasn't blown many saves.
And 2 on Pierzynski.
Pretty much standard pattern for Smoltz. Fastball, split finger, lefties, fastball, slider to righties.
John likes to get in a rhythm, and I think Pierzynski knows that. He's spending a little time before stepping back into the box. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Bouncing ball. Marcus Giles backhands it on the first. High throw, but Franco handles it. By the way, Charles Thomas stays in the game after getting that pinch hit single. He's now in left field.
He's 46 years old, but Fred Astaire would be very proud of this agility. Watch the throw. It's up. Giles had to unload in a hurry, but pay particular attention to Julio Franco's feet. Up, down, got it again. Here's a better look. He'll come off the bag. A little tap dance to stay on it.
So there's one away. And Ricky Leday on the pinch hit now for Christensen. Well-traveled outfielder who was with the Phillies prior to San Francisco, hitting .242 overall for the year. He's just 3 out of 34 since coming over to the Giants.
They got him in a trade that sent their 8th inning man or 7th inning man, Felix Rodriguez, to Philadelphia.
1-2 the count. 1 out in the 9th inning. Here's the 1-2. Strike him out. 2 outs in the 9th. And Michael Tucker, who's 0 for his last 21. He's the last hope for the Giants.
John's thrown those left-handers some nasty splitters. That's been the best of the bunch. In the 90s, starting out at knee-high and diving to the plate.
Everybody on their feet here at Turner Field. As Smoltz squares off with Tucker. 5-3 Atlanta, 2 outs in the 9th. Strike one. Tucker 0 for 6 lifetime against Smoltz. And really battling it right now. 21 straight at bats without a hit. The 0-1. Strike 2. Now you'll hear some noise.
Smoltz hasn't thrown a single fastball. It's been all splitters. And with the success, I wouldn't be surprised to see the sign for another one.
Third base side, Chipper Jones over near the Giants dugout. Does not have enough room for this one.
Wasn't a splitter. It was a fastball.
The Atlanta Braves have beaten the San Francisco Giants in the opening game of the series and now have the second best record in the National League. Your final score, 5-3.
Today. Ball Friday Night Extra, brought to you by Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly, this is the High Life. Office Depot, what you need to know. Wagner, be a super painter with a full line of Wagner power painting tools. Paint fast, paint smart. And Aflac, ask about it at work.
Gilly thought he went deep. Piece of hitting right there, JD. Piece of hitting right there. That ball's out of here. That ball's out of here. Yeah.
All that excitement from Terry Pendleton in the 6th inning. It was an inning in which the Braves would send 10 men to the plate, put that 4 on the board, and that would be enough, but they would add 1 more for insurance and would win this ball game. The first of 4 by a score of 5-3. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Brave. Errorless streak that's going pretty well for them now. They stranded 10. Giants 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 costly error and 1 mental mistake, the difference in the ballgame. They stranded 4. Jarrett Wright a career high in wins of 13, Smoltz the 35th save, and Kurt Reeder continues to struggle for the year. Ho-hum, Bonds and Jones got homers. And a big important thing for the Braves. We talked about it a little during the broadcast. Braves now with the 2nd best record in the National League, and Game 2 coming up tomorrow, Pete.
And we want to thank Harmon Killebrew for being our guest tonight. Our next telecast will be Monday on TBS at 1 Eastern. Final game of this series, that'll be John Thompson against the rookie Noah Lowry. Our next Friday Night Extra game, September 3rd. That's a week from tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern. The Braves will be up in Montreal facing the Expos. And while Frank Robinson is down in the field managing, Brooks Robinson will be our guest analyst. Up next on TBS, Kevin Costner stars in Field of Dreams on the West Coast. And for those of you out west, it's the Drew Carey Show. For Don Sutton, Pete Van Wieren, so long, everyone.